Hello and good morning. Happy Monday. If you're a Monday kind of a guy or gal, I'm more of a weekend kind of a guy. But listen, welcome to today's Xbox Lunch Break Special. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and we have an absolutely outstanding show for you. Strap in, folks. The next 90 minutes are going to be Xbox Central, and we have a lot happening this week. Obviously, the embargo for Hellblade 2 reviews lifts, at least for me, at 4 a.m., which, of course, my video is done. I spent the entire morning doing the video. I redid it like 3 times. I'll tell you, it's 10 minutes and 22 seconds to be exact. That's about all I can tell you. I'm going to launch it. I'm going to have it preloaded up on the YouTube channel for a 4:01 a.m. Premiere. Obviously, I ask that you check it out. I have already said this in the video, but I will reiterate this for anyone. There are 0 spoilers in the video. I've combed over it 4 and 5 times alike to make sure that nothing that you're going to be seeing, because there's gameplay there, but there is nothing there that ruins anything for you whatsoever. Like I said, I was very, very meticulous when it came to exactly what I was going to show, exactly what I was going to say. I spent 6 hours on Saturday writing the script. It's the biggest review that I've ever done since Gears of War 5. I've also reviewed Forza Horizon 5. So this is a big one for me. It's a big one for the channel. Please, like I said, I will ask that when you do watch it, if you would not mind and you're feeling super extra generous, please share this on social media. It is a big deal for the channel. The fact that Xbox and Ninja Theory included us in the review of this is a really monstrous deal. We're still a small channel, and this is a really, really big game. To be a part of the conversation with people like Colt Eastwood and ACG and so many others, it's a pretty big deal for the channel. So if you can share it out there, it's not long. Like I said, it's 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Could it have been longer? I guess, but I think I covered everything that you would want in the video without spoiling a freaking thing. But listen, we are going to get into some Hellblade talk. Obviously, there's a feverish pitch. I have the release times. This comes directly from Ninja Theory. I'm going to throw that up on screen so you can take a look at it. But before we get into that conversation, we got to welcome in the panel here. And look at this. Gamsley with his button-down shirt looking all fancy pants. What's up, Gamsley? How's everything, brother? How you feeling?
It's summer, baby. I'm ready to dress like it. I'm having a great time, man. I'm hyped. I'm super hyped. We got big games landing tomorrow. I'm hyped to read your review. I'm hyped to listen. Sorry, not read. Hyped to listen to it. I'm hyped to see what people are feeling. I'm ready to jump into this, dude. I'm getting more and more hyped, and that trailer, that launch trailer, is
Yeah, man.
so freaking good. I can't wait. It did its job, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm playing games and I'm waiting for games. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know where, as an Xbox fan, you could be negative.
Mm.
Yes, there's been some stuff that happened that were head scratching, stuff that I'm never going to let them get off the hook about. We've talked about it. We gave them the business, as we should, as consumers and as fans. But where we are currently, right now, Fuzzy Belvedere, I don't understand the negativity unless you are an effing troll. Because your box has no first party games coming out, and there's no roadmap, and they're not telling you anything about potentially next generation, and will you get a pro, will you not get a pro. That should not be Xbox's problem. And like I will say, when you start to see games like Hellblade and Starfield and Forza Horizon, and this year alone, Call of Duty, which we're going to get into, and of course, Indiana Jones and so many others going into Game Pass day and date, I don't understand as a consumer how you could be upset or disappointed with what's going on with Xbox. But Fuzzy, how you feeling, brother? How was your weekend? Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. Man, it was a pretty good weekend. still, pretty jazzed up for the launch tomorrow for Hellblade 2. Got my 1,000 out of 1,000 on Hellblade 1. Had like 3 playthroughs. I started on PS5 or PS4, then started another one on Xbox, the console. And I finally figured, well, let me finish it on PC. And unfortunately, the progress doesn't carry over from Xbox console to Xbox PC. But nonetheless, got my 1,000 out of 1,000 on it. Glad to get that under the belt because I had the rune stones that I didn't find all of them previously. So, but other than that, Hellblade 2, that's going to be pretty much all of my time tomorrow.
I hate those rune stones.
I'm missing 2. Missing 2. I went through I've beaten the game, I think, twice. I started a third time, and of course, it's games. There's a lot of stuff to play. So I never got the 1,000. I got 900 out of 1,000. I know, hang my head in shame, but I got to get those last 2 rune stones. I'll probably gonna go back. Just have to get it.
No, you don't. You don't have to do it.
I don't have to, but I think I might have to in my own mind. To be honest with you, a big Mad Mo with the 1,000 out of 1,000. Good on you, brother. Like I said, I really went to do it, and I found most of the collectibles in my first playthrough, and on my second one for Hellblade 1, I don't know how I missed it. I'm like, God damn it, how did I miss that? And well, such is life. But listen, Hellblade, Gamsley, coming out tomorrow. Hellblade 2, obviously, this game has been in, look, I can't say much. I'm under embargo, and I don't want to risk anything. So all I will say is get excited. The game comes out tomorrow. The long wait is over. It's the first big game for Xbox in 2024. And now it's going to be an onslaught of games, literally game after game after game. And a couple weeks after tomorrow, we have the showcase happening in LA. That is going to be a big deal. We keep hearing some things about that showcase being called by some circles as Xbox's game. Like Sony had their Year of Dreams. I believe it was in 2015. I think it was. Well, from what I have heard, and again, I don't have any specifics, but this is the kind of talk that's going around, is that this year is going to be the Xbox Year of Dreams. I am here for it. I'm going to be in attendance, and I cannot wait to be hanging out with everyone watching this transpire. I'm super stoked. I'm super excited. But Gamzee, let's get into your excitement before we bring up the times where people can actually see. And again, this is actual documentation that Ninja Theory threw up on the socials. I have it. I want to throw it up for everyone. So wherever you are, you can kind of look and see on the map where and what time you'd be able to start playing this game, if you're going to stay up or not. But the excitement is here. Where is yours currently, Gamzee?
Yeah, so I've been on the record many times saying, like, the first one didn't. These style of games are just not a Gamsley style of game, right? The Gamsley style of game is like very RPG heavy and like a game that you could just shut your brain off, kind of like, junk food games like Fortnite and League of Legends and stuff like that. Those are more Gamsley games. These cinematic kind of walking sims, they're not my, I don't say that in a rude way. They're not my jam. That's why a lot of, the opposing box is not my jam either, because they kind of blend together. And that's no shot either. I'm super excited because why not jump into this game again? I experienced the first one recently again with my girlfriend, who's very interested in this, and I treated it like a movie experience and a bonding experience with her. So going through it with her, I enjoyed it a lot more. Right? I looked at it. I was like, how can I enjoy this the most that I possibly can? And that was my answer. Just enjoy it with somebody and talk about it after. And I enjoyed it a lot. The second one, I'm going to do it the same way. So I'm going to play it with her, in front of her, and just talk about it like it's this small series that we go through together and complete, and it looks incredible. It does. That launch trailer, guys, got me so happy. Like when the music in the background and she's running and you see the volcanic rocks exploding, like that one scene just is incredible. And then like that wetland kind of area where she's also running, and you see a giant in the background and a tornado and stuff. I mean, the set pieces in this game look incredible, and I'm ready. I'm ready to eat it all up. So my hype levels are pretty high at the moment, even though it's not my style of game usually.
Well, I mean, listen, this, in my opinion, without spoiling anything, without breaking embargo, is the type of game that Xbox gamers have been asking for and have been waiting for. We've seen games like God of War and Horizon and Uncharted and so many more of these single player, story driven, narrative based movie like titles. And well, you know, folks, it's Hellblade 1 to this day is still stunning to look at. Now, that launched in 2017 as a PlayStation exclusive, and obviously it was a very PlayStation like game. Eventually came to Xbox. Obviously Microsoft bought Ninja Theory. That was announced in 2018, and well, here we are. And you know, I mean, it's what people have been asking for, Gamsley. It really is. That's the best thing I can say.
Can't wait.
Listen,
again, I sometimes you know, games do not click with a certain audience, and sometimes it's a mindset. And I really did a lot of effort here to find a way to like it more than I like it. And in that environment that I set up for myself, I quite enjoyed it. So I'm ready to do the same with this one. It looks incredible. So yeah. Bunker up with whoever you need to, play it in front of them if you need to, you know. Sometimes the environment helps you out, and play this game.
Yes, indeed.
Free on Game Pass.
Free on Game Pass, or $50. There is no physical version as of yet. There is only a digital version. I saw that try to be like a negative. It is not. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, because at one of the biggest games of last year, Alan Wake was only digital. And everyone was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Alan Wake, wonderful. Game of the year. So this shouldn't be a problem either. But Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your excitement levels. It's here. 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, I'm going to throw that up in a hot second for everyone to take a look at. We are a dozen hours or so away, a little over a dozen hours away from the game being available for a lot of people. Reviews are going to be going up left, right, and center. I know that Colt Eastwood has his already preloaded. I have not preloaded mine as of yet. I finished it this morning. But are you excited to finally play Ninja Theory's Hellblade 2?
Oh, yeah. And the main thing about like Hellblade 2 for me, especially after its original debut on the VGC or the VGAs, like what was it, 5 years ago, when they also unveiled
2019, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. The big thing is that was a peek into next gen as far as from a graphical standpoint. And they've already talked about, like in some of the videos that they've released so far, talked about the upgrades in audio. Like I thought it was amazing as far as like, even with mainly with headphones, but even without headphones, the audio was great. I think they've taken it a step up, because I've watched some of those videos where you almost have that, well, maybe it's made the upgrade speakers I have now, but you have more of that positional or differentiation between where the voices are coming from. But you know, even with I'm playing it with headphones, just like I did with the first one. That was a very immersive and sometimes chilling thing. Wondering like, oh, look out. And it's like they're saying it behind you, and you turn around and there's somebody swinging a hatchet at you kind of deal. So having all of that with the graphical fidelity that we've seen in some of the trailers, and it looks like the trailers, the more recent trailers depicting what the game will look like compared to what we saw from the unveiling back in 2019 have been seriously upgraded. So the tech has come a long way. I truly think this is going to be the first title that really pushes the Series X. And I can't wait to play it. Like I said, I just finished the first one as far as getting the 1,000 out of 1,000. For those that may have missed some of the lore stones, there's a chapter select. Just go to the main menu, do a chapter select, and they'll tell you which like it'll say like 5 out of 6 lore stones or something like
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
But aside from that, probably not going to focus on the puzzles the first go around or the lore stones as much the first playthrough. But yeah, I can't wait for this. Just for the fact that it looks like you'll have like a companion walking through some of the parts with you. There's going to be a lot more. It seems like varied combat, so it's not just combat with enemies or opponents your size. You're going to have that big baby giant or whatever to fight as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm probably going to take a nap before it and then try to get up at 4 to play it. I already got it preloaded and everything like that. So it's just a matter of hitting the go button, tomorrow morning and stuff. But I plan on getting up extra early to play it. So can't wait.
It's gonna be well worth losing the sleep. I will say that. So you know what, folks? Being that we're talking about release schedules, I'm gonna throw it up on the screen for you. It's gonna cover it's gonna cover our beautiful faces. So don't worry, we'll be back. So here we go. There it is for you to see. First of all, I want to welcome in. Wow, man, nearly 800 people here. Holy shit, that's just crazy. So thank you so much for hanging out. Almost 800 people here. Hit the like button. And folks, hey, we're on the hunt for 15K. If you'd like to help us get there, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, and you're, like I said, you want to be notified for my official review of Senua Saga Hellblade 2 tomorrow morning at 4 a.m., well, you'll get notified and you can watch that. And there you go. So listen, here are some of the times. New York, which is where I am, you'll be able to play the game at 4 a.m. That is when, for me, the embargo officially lifts. In Seattle, it is 1 a.m. Pacific time. I would imagine that's the same thing for California. Chicago, which is an hour behind, is 3 a.m. CDT time. You have Berlin is 10 a.m. their time. London is at 9 a.m. BST. And obviously you can see there are a couple of other countries across the planet that these are the release times. I would imagine if you went to Ninja Theory's website, you'd be able to get a more specific time zone for you personally. I don't know if they will have something where you can just kind of type where you are and boop, it pops up. But I think you can pretty much go based on some of the places here, at least if you are in the United States. But look, at the end of the day, it'll be here before you know it, folks. And I'm very excited. I'm excited to finally be able to talk about it tomorrow, because we are going to do a Hellblade 2 launch special at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the new episode, of course, of the Xbox Factor podcast. I'm going to try and invite some guests to come on. And maybe by that time you'd be able to, because it is launching early in the morning. So we'll have people jump on that might want to give, no spoilers. It's going to be a non-spoilery, party. We're going to talk about the game. I could finally talk about the game because I've been chomping at the bit to talk about it. I've had it since the middle of last week. And again, I got to thank Ninja Theory and Xbox for the trust for involving us in something so important as the Hellblade review. We are not, listen, as a content creator, you're never guaranteed anything. And the fact that they thought of us to send us a code is we're beyond thankful. But listen, nearly 900 people now are here. Again, thank you so much. Hopefully you are going to hang out for the conversation. But, Fuzzy, I want to go right back to you because you had a chance to not only be on the Shop podcast, as you normally are. You had a chance to be on Friday, on Mav show on Friday night. And we learned from several people in the gaming community, including content creators and journalists alike, that Call of Duty in Xbox Game Pass is going to tank Xbox as a company. The $3 trillion company, oh no, they're in trouble. And Game Pass, we actually heard, again, no names here. You know who they are. They're a bunch of knuckleheads. Shout out to J-Rock, who kind of put all four of these knuckleheads on blast. Who had a problem or are now concerned about Xbox Game Pass. And one even said that Call of Duty and Game Pass can't save Xbox. I would disagree, but listen, hey, I'm not a money market manager or anything. I don't have a degree. I do have common sense. Let's talk about how Game Pass is doomed, how Xbox is going out of business, even though they have a roadmap and they have a slate of games, and it was confirmed on Friday as breaking news. You were there, that Game Pass is going to have Call of Duty, not only the new Call of Duty, which is Black Ops Gulf War. We would imagine that at some point they're going to announce the entire slate of all the Call of Duties dropping into Game Pass. It is going to be an explosion of new customers. It's going to be an explosion of former customers potentially coming back. Let's talk about it, man.
Well, first, I'd like to start with Xbox doesn't need saving. They're doing rather well for themselves. Even if, let's say, nobody buys Call of Duty and everybody signs up for Game Pass to play it for quote unquote free through that subscription service, they'll be fine. They'll be all right. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. But aside from that, like, as far as people that claim they're concerned for Game Pass are the same ones that said that Game Pass destroys the industry and that it's unsustainable and a whole myriad of other things, to the point where, why are they even concerned? Like, I thought they wrote off Game Pass as just being a bunch of fodder that they don't want to play. It's old games. Who cares? Or it's not bangers like on the other platform. Why are they concerned? Like, how would that affect the platform that they prefer? Are they saying that they're now switching to Xbox and that's why they're concerned? Doesn't make sense, because if they're switching to Xbox and they sign up for Game Pass, unless Game Pass plans on doing a disappearing act, which I would say, let's say worst case scenario, let's say everything tanks, Call of Duty, the economy, we're in the midst of World War III. I think Game Pass will probably be around for at least quite a few more years, probably longer than this generation of console, and maybe even longer than next generation, even if everything goes bust. But all of that aside, Call of Duty coming to Game Pass, I think the only thing it really affects is those that are opposed to choice or opposed to options. Like, it's still purchasable. You could still be on Xbox and buy a copy through the store if you want. You don't have to go and get Game Pass to be able to access it. You could still do the traditional way. Game Pass is the option where you can pay the subscription. You have access to games like Call of Duty, plus all the other first party titles, plus, all the hundreds of other day and date games and, indie games and third party publishers that put their games in there. So it's still an option. You can just as easily spend the $3 or $4 or $5 it is annually for buying those games individually, or you can subscribe to Game Pass and save yourself a ton of money. But I think the big thing is, it's almost like they forget, even if Call of Duty doesn't get purchased, like I said, everybody goes the Game Pass route. There's still the microtransactions that this company is still going to make. Let's not, fool ourselves. Most of the money that they make on Call of Duty are the after spending stuff on skins, on season passes, on all of those things. The cost of the game doesn't really, affect their bottom line. It's only if everybody agrees that they're never going to buy a skin again or never do one of those season passes or battle passes or anything like that, which I doubt people are going to do, especially considering when you have it in Game Pass. Well, if you saved yourself the $70 or the $100 you would normally spend, you're still going to spend that anywhere from 10 to 30 on the season pass. You might even spend more, because now you can say, oh, well, since I didn't have to pay for the game, I can pay for the skins and do it that way. So the people that claim that they're concerned aren't really concerned for Game Pass or Call of Duty. They're concerned mainly about their preferred platform possibly losing out on some player base as far as, and we'll probably get into this further with the trends on Amazon as far as something selling a little bit better than it has in the past.
No coincidence there, but we'll get into that. Yes. Yes.
But there was also, let's not forget, when ABK was originally announced to be acquired, even places like Walmart had signs, posted up in their, gaming section saying, hey, Call of Duty will be part of Xbox. So be careful of what brand you purchase. But it was like, even then they were kind of nudging people like, hey, you might want to buy an Xbox, considering what might, be down the road as far as with Xbox and ABK. But yeah, the concern, these journalists saying that it's going to destroy gaming. Let's be clear. It's the number 2 in many cases on the charts as far as games. Now, it's number 1 as far as sales typically, but it's number 2 as far as played. The one that usually beats it out is Fortnite, and I don't see that disappearing. I mean, besides, it's a free game, so every platform has access to it, even the Switch. So gaming isn't going to disappear. Game Pass isn't going to disappear because Call of Duty goes into it. Game Pass is going to continue to thrive as they keep on dropping their first party titles. If anything, that's going to be the kickoff to get maybe the people that aren't familiar with Xbox to pay attention to Xbox, because what they've been playing lately, as far as Call of Duty on PlayStation, because they had the marketing rights. Now that they see that, oh, Xbox has it. Oh, and there's a thing like perks in Game Pass where if I sign up for Ultimate, I might be able to get a skin or 2 for free, or I might be able to get a discount on the season pass, or any of the DLC for any of the other games I buy over there. It's like, oh, I subscribe and I save 10 to 15% right off the rip. Yeah, I think I'll do that. And I think that's where the concern really comes down to, is that they're more worried about PlayStation taking a loss, where at most now they're going to get their 30%. They're going to continue to get 30% of the Call of Duty sales, but Microsoft gets that 70%. And for those that buy it on Xbox, they get the 100%. So either way, it's a win-win. Even if you swear off Xbox and you buy it on Steam, Microsoft still gets your 70%. You want to continue to support Call of Duty, but only on your PlayStation, that's fine. Microsoft still gets your 70%. And then they can either distribute that to their shareholders, which those are the main ones that, might, if they're not happy, then maybe things change. But I think with them getting that 70% from Call of Duty sales across all platforms, I don't foresee them complaining. And if it raises the subscription numbers as well, that reoccurring income, I don't think they'll be complaining either on that as well. So we'll see how things go. But I predict that this is going to be a little bit of a shift. It may not be the big shift. I think the bigger shift is going to be when the next gen consoles drop, or in particular Xbox, and it's right around the corner from when either GTA 6 releases, or maybe GTA 6 releases shortly after it drops, whatever the case may be, because Rockstar always delays their announced release date.
Indeed.
So if it gets to 2026, that'll be the push, because that's next gen only. And then, hey, another next gen console will probably be the leap for a lot of the PS4 to whatever console, or the people that may still be on Xbox One, upgrading to the next, not the series consoles, but whatever comes after that type of deal. So we'll see. And I'm hoping we get some info probably by June if this title is going to be next gen. Because if it is next gen, the 50% of the PlayStation base that's still on PS4 might just finally pull the trigger on next gen and get that Series S or Series X. We'll see.
You know what's interesting to what you're saying? Okay, so if we go all the way back to what happened with the Xbox One versus the PlayStation 4, right? Xbox is coming off of a massive 360 generation. Now, granted, Sony edged them in console sales, but come on. I mean, I think it's all safe to say that the leader of that particular generation, well, it was the Xbox 360. And they shot themselves in the foot. Good old Don Matrix, said some things that were kind of dumb, and it kind of blew up in their face. And they spent the entire generation trying to fix some of the broken things. This is when Phil Spencer got promoted, and well, the rest is history. But what you saw at that particular time was this seismic shift of Xbox 360 players to PlayStation 4 for a multitude of reasons. Price being one of the big ones. I think that is probably the lead conversation of that era. $100 difference versus the Xbox Series, the Xbox One X having to have Kinect, and they eventually took it out of the box, but the damage was already done. This is how you share games. Obviously, they delivered on first party in a big way. Well, Fuzzy, if we look at what's happening right now with Xbox, I'm not saying that it's mirror imaging. I said, but I will say it's close, because what you have, and it's and you know, we're gonna get to Gamsley in a second, because he had mentioned the perfect storm, and I think that's what we're seeing here. There is a perfect storm brewing. You have Xbox now starting to hit with first party. And that's going to happen tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. here on the East Coast, where Hellblade 2 is going to be released to the masses. That is the first big bomb of 2024. In the same year, you have Avowed, you have Indiana Jones, you potentially have Clockwork Revolution, you have a bunch of other games, and oh, by the way, you have Call of Duty, which is now first party. That has been confirmed to be coming into Game Pass. Now, very similar to what happened with Xbox One versus PS4, we learned before the announcement, Fuzzy, that more than 50% of gamers that are PlayStation gamers are still on PlayStation 4. Now, here is the nightmare scenario for Sony. This is what I think Jim Ryan talked about, and I think it's safe to say you don't have to be a tactician or a mental gymnastic to figure it out, right? We're in the fourth year of the generation. Sony is in the process of potentially launching a $600 plus console in a pro model. Is it going to make the PS5, the regular model, cheaper? It might. I don't know. But what we can suggest, without sounding like complete lunatics, is that Microsoft has two SKUs, and we know that the Series S has sold more than the Series X. In December, and I've said this before, folks, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is for context. You have a game like Indiana Jones and Starfield, and Hellblade 2 is getting massive buzz, and Avowed, for anyone that is a fan of Obsidian and RPGs, on top of a lot of really big second and third party games, on top of stuff like potentially the Gears of War collection and this massive show that is supposed to change lives in a couple of weeks on June 9th, rather. You put Call of Duty in Game Pass, and you're selling your box for $200, and the other side of the aisle, they're trying to sell you on a $600 Pro, or at the minimum a $450 to $500 PS5 with a 7643 copy of Call of Duty, and marketing. Well, Microsoft has that. There is not going to be any marketing whatsoever for PlayStation. I see a nightmare scenario. Before we go over to Gamsley, let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I think the big thing next will be if they do the bundles, which they probably will. And even if Xbox themselves don't do a bundle, I could totally see places like Target, places like Best Buy. They may not specifically put Call of Duty as that title, but you best believe they're going to say, pick one of these three as your included game. And that's going to be the seller, because they're already going to have the doorbusters for the price drops on the Series X and Series S. So like you said, somewhere between $350 on a Series X, possibly, maybe $200 or less for a Series S. And, you know, pack in a Call of Duty, or pack in, you know, an Indiana Jones, or any of the new titles that are coming out this second half of this year. And it's going to be I don't want to say slaughter, because I know people will be like, oh, let's clip that and look at the sales later. But, you know, the big thing that we saw last year or last holiday is that Xbox sold a lot of consoles. That's the thing that people forget. They sold a lot of consoles, but the drawback was, because they did the price cuts, it only improved their bottom line by, I think it was like 2 or 3% or something along those lines, because they basically took like only a couple of bucks as far as profit off of the sale of those consoles. So if they do something similar to that, which the consoles are not their bread and butter as far as what they're concerned with their bottom line, you know, games or the software and services is where they make their money. So if they can get more people in the door without paying them to buy the console kind of thing, they're still making some money off of the console with the price cuts. and they get you into a subscription of Game Pass, or they get you to buy one or two of the games afterwards, they've made their money back. That's golden, and that's their foot in the door to get you to continue buying stuff in that ecosystem. But yeah, I expect a Call of Duty edition. I would hope, and I know they're probably not going to do a custom console, but I would hope that they do maybe a console wrap or something like that, like what they did for Starfield, and have it that, or at least do a controller. Like they love to do controllers, so let's not fake ourselves or kid ourselves. Let's go ahead and suggest that they make a Gulf War Call of Duty controller and have it where maybe you get a wallpaper, like a dynamic wallpaper with it, which a lot of these new controllers come with some sort of dynamic wallpaper as well.
Yes.
It'll be an easy holiday season for them where, they probably won't have to raise the price of Game Pass, because the amount of subscription increase, the amount of consoles sold during the holiday will more than likely make up for whatever area that they might be lacking as far as their bottom line or what their expectation was. So yeah, this holiday, I definitely expect them to do some numbers with this whole deal. And Sony, the best that they can say is that PS5 Pro will be the best looking place to play Call of Duty. That will be the only thing that they can really tout at that point.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, if it even releases. FYI, Sony's in a bit of a pickle. They have just canceled the Venom character doing any more films. After 3, that's it. Obviously, this is on the heels of Madam Web, one of the worst reviewed games. So the only thing that's actually making money for them is PlayStation. And, well, I mean, are they really making money? Now, their financials are pretty good, right? I'm not going to lie, but they fell short of their numbers for the PlayStation 5 sales. They had originally lowered it from 25 to 21. They came in at 20.8. Now, granted, yes, it's 200,000, but it's still 200,000 units that they didn't sell. They don't have any first-party games coming out this year. Now, again, their service is expensive. It is. They had a few games in there that popped in there, that day and date launches, but nothing from first party. They are in a pickle, and Microsoft seems to be in charge, and they are turning the head of the horse, so to speak. Gamzee, I want to talk about Call of Duty going into Game Pass, and oh no, Microsoft is out of business, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk about that, but I also want you to reiterate what we were talking about in the green room, because this is a scenario that is likely going to happen more than people want to admit it, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about it, man.
Okay, so first, I this is a little bit of work for you, because I don't read every one of those articles because I don't care about them. But if you can you actually read to me a little bit of the quote that is on some of these articles and why they think that? And while I speak, can you do that for me, Boom?
I mean, it was a lot of it was just a talk, but I do have an IGN article in front of me where it says Activision will also launch Call of Duty across Xbox, PlayStation, and PC as a game that can be bought outright. But with Game Pass subscriber numbers failing, Microsoft is under pressure to attract new customers. Adding the mainline Call of Duty at launch will no doubt help with that. Now, obviously, I don't know, 35 million is that failed? Is that a failure?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I have a screenshot here, but I don't know if I want to can I present that?
Oh, by all means. You know what? It's this thing there the whole time. Hold on just a second. Let me just put it, share it, and I'll bring it up on screen. Absolutely. Go right ahead.
So here we go. There's this old chart. There's this chart running around, right? Hold on. And this is a negative article. Don't read the headlines, but this one chart, remember this one chart that's going around, this one chart where they projected what they saw and how free, and then it was used of like, oh my God, I hope this is not the chart they're pulling from because they're failing. So if you look in the middle, you said 35 million. They're around 35 million right now. It looks they're 5-ish million away from their console sale projection at the time we are at right now, and they're about 14-ish million away from Game Pass subs, and this is without anything being released. Nothing right now. Nothing. No ABK. This is numbers they crack before, purchases, and before that. This is their projection, their idea of how they would grow with Bethesda and what they had, etc., etc. I think they showed this at the court. I'm not sure the context of the chart, but they're right on the dot here. If you look at this, all right, truly look at this. By 2026, which I said multiple times, it's going to take about 2 years to shift minds. I think this is all reachable numbers. I think you could reach where they want to reach in 2 years of having nonstop releases. Because remember, Phil said, like, yo, if you could, we see what we have in the catalog. You don't, but we do, and we wish we could show you. But this is what they saw, and this is what the chart they made from those things. Like, we have this in the pipeline. We have this console being made. We have this idea. We have a universal wireless controller, which, surprise, third party instated that, right? They've seen all of this. They know about it, and they think that's where they're going to go. Now, the numbers seem quite high when you get to 100 million, whatever, but that's like 2028. I also think they could hit that with all these games coming out and landing. So they have an idea. So I think it's kind of ridiculous. Journalists, so to this is a big reach around here. Pause. Journalists jobs,
no Diddy. Holy
I
matrimony.
find. Yeah. I'm gonna stop presenting this little chart now.
There you go.
Journalists jobs right now, that they know that we are the same consumers that we've been forever, okay? And the journalists, usually they look at the other mediums and see what's happening. Well, the good analysts anyways, they look at the Netflix, they look at music, they look at TV, and we like to pretend that gaming communities are different in the way that they consume goods, and age doesn't matter, and IPs don't matter that much, and we don't understand it. No, history repeats itself. The pendulum has already been swinging to the correction of how much these video games are costing to make. People are slimming down. Companies are getting more focused on building quality products and trying to show people why they should buy games and why they should be in this service. The corrections aren't because of Game Pass is killing the freaking industry right now. It's just not true. The correction is about the sheer amount of money and the sheer growth they over predicted. That is the correction happening right now. It's not Xbox killing the industry. So I want to put that to rest. It's journalists' jobs to say, hey, there are risks to having these services show up and disrupt the whole landscape. It's their job to do that. So I don't fault them for it, because again, history repeats itself. Netflix and music are going through that correction at this moment too. They all presented with sheer volume. Why should customers come to us? Well, because we have this volume. Like, we have all this stuff. Look at this IP. Look at that IP. How quickly could we get it to them? And now they're in a correction of like, no, we need to slim down, focus on good quality, like, House of Dragons and House of Cards, all these big IPs that are eye-catching and get consumers to their platform instead of sheer volume, right? That correction is happening. This is going to be the same way, and Microsoft saw this, and they're in a position to be the top gun, which is Netflix, and I find it hilariously funny that we're like, oh, they have the potential to be the top gun, but they're also in danger of they have all these classic juggernaut IP, but they're also very vulnerable and they're going to die tomorrow. And it's just like, guys, they have Call of Duty. They have the mobile market helping them out. They have all the IPs in their basket that they need. They have House of Cards, right? They have Game of Thrones, right? They have these IP that people want to see and people want to play. It is the cumulative volume of stuff and quality that lands in your service that grabs attention. And they don't have Hulu in the backyard. They don't have Prime in their backyard. They don't have any of this. They have what? Ubisoft Plus to compete with? Who else do they have? Fucking EA Sports to compete with? They're in their service, you know?
Yeah.
Who are they competing with? Why would they step out? Just use your brain. Use your brain. Why would they step out? How are they in danger? I don't understand the mind process. And I was on this podcast telling that to all of you from day one when we thought that going third party is going to murder Xbox. But for the same reason, and I'm saying it sort of 600 times, for the same reason we thought that if Xbox makes all these games exclusive forever, right, is the same reason this Netflix or this idea of sub-services are going to succeed. It's the same reason. Because the games are going to come, they're going to land, they're going to hit hard, and then word of mouth will travel, and it's going to be a 5-year process, not a 2-year, not a 1-year, a 5-year process of shifting the ship. And those numbers that I just showed you on that chart, they're going to hit. Whether it's a year late or not, they're going to hit it. And they're going to see the progress if they could deliver. If they can deliver. I know that's a big if, but it seems like they will be. And that's it. And that's it. And the scenario you were talking about was I'm a gamer. I haven't been in this sphere for a very long time. People in this chat probably mad at me right now and hate me or whatever. Probably know I've popped up in the last year or two in social media. I'm mostly I'm actually, you know, really winning at life right now. You know, I've been winning at life, and I want to jump back into my gaming hobby. And I'm a consumer as consumer can be, and my brother is as well. And we bond over this one thing that all of us in this community are bonding over, and that's good games. And my brother has no idea that Call of Duty or anything Activision has been bought yet or being put into Game Pass. And I was having a talk with him, and I was like, hey, are you going to play Call of Duty? He's like, yeah, I'm on Warzone all the time. I'm like, okay, cool. Do you play the other things? And he's like, no, I don't. I'm like, oh, well, did you know that the new Call of Duty is coming out? Like, you know, the campaign and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, it's on Game Pass. He's like, it's going to be on Game Pass? And he went on his World of Warcraft little guild club or whatever, and he told 10 people this, right, in his little raid. Okay, nerd. He went in his little raid group and told them about this, right? I'm a nerd too. I'm a heavy nerd. And they're all shocked, and they're all going to get PC Game Pass. All of them. Every single one of them. And that's just it hasn't kicked in yet. Nobody knows this yet. There hasn't been a big cultural IP that has dropped in this service yet. There just hasn't been. They want the data, and that stuff hits hard, and word of mouth travels very quickly to the normal population out there. Okay, just like I was a normal dude, and I would get fed content the same way as my brother. And that's going to happen. It's going to turn a ship. So stop worrying about Xbox dying and start playing the freaking games. And the people that are looking for logo wars, I mean, that's irrelevant to most people. So enjoy games. And I hate talking about this. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, skeptics, guys, the skeptics in the chat, you're a skeptic because you're always wrong. Just saying that. Just putting that out there. That's how skepticism is born. Okay. Next.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a fair point. I think that the scenario that he described, ladies and gentlemen, about his brother being, well, wait a second. He's a Call of Duty player. He understands who and what Call of Duty is. Now, he plays Warzone, but he's also familiar with Game Pass. And he's like, wait a second, hold on. You're saying that Call of Duty is going into Game Pass. And what does he do? He reaches out to his friends like, yo, guys, WoW, hello, is also under the umbrella of Xbox. Is that going to come to Game Pass at some point? Well, maybe. Is that going to be a part of one of maybe an upgraded subscription service that we keep hearing might happen, where there is going to be this additional tier that gives you all of these other things, like maybe World of Warcraft, membership? I don't know. It's possible, and that would be a big deal. But that, hey, bro, this is going to Game Pass, and him making the call to his guild, that's 10 new customers potentially. That word of mouth that he was talking about is going to happen. And he knocked it out of the park by you saying the cultural level game dropping into the service. May not be Hellblade 2, may not even be Indiana Jones, but I'll tell you what it is. It's freaking Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. And that storm you were talking about, Boom, that storm is called, the cumulative sum of games that drop alongside Call of Duty. That's the point. It's like you have House of Cards and Netflix, but you also have 17 other things forever that people want to look at. That's the point. It's like, okay, you have Call of Duty. This is the first year where they're going to drop Call of Duty, right? In the middle of the year. And then they have a Hellblade that's about to drop tomorrow that might, God knows, will get accolades and awards, probably. And then you also have Indiana Jones coming out in this same freaking year. And then you have Avowed probably coming out this same year. And then next year, they have the same lineup. Next year, they have the same. There's a Call of Duty going to drop, plus a console or whatever the hell, which is also on the chart, by the way. They predicted 2026 on the chart for a mid-whatever console, right? So that's going to come. And then all of a sudden, this is a huge moment for competition because they can't do the same thing. EA can't do the same thing. Ubisoft can't do the same thing. Well, they are releasing their games day and date, whatever, but they don't have a store or a console, right? PlayStation can't do the same thing, and they don't want to do the same thing because they can't fight on the same foot, guys. So it is a very funny thing to say, well, Call of Duty and Game Pass is going to kill Xbox. It's like, no, it's not. They've seen they've seen the chart. They already know these numbers. They're predicting what's happening, and if it doesn't happen, there's going to be a day and date shift, or maybe, guys, I'm going to shoot this out there. Maybe they see pricing coming and they're like, okay, cut EA. Cut EA out. We have Call of Duty because that's exactly what Netflix is going to do. You can bet that if they have such pushback about price increase, they're going to cut something, and what they're going to cut is not their IP. They're just going to look at EA whatever, and they're going to be like, okay, how many people are playing Jedi Fallen Order instead of Call of Duty? Nobody. And who is playing, I don't know, NHL 24 6 months after it releases? Who's doing that? Oh, okay, let's just not renew that freaking partnership. And there you go. The price all of a sudden stays the same, and Call of Duty goes in. But anyways, there's multiple ways that they could pivot a ship and keep everything healthy. Netflix did it. Microsoft's going to do it, and nobody could stop them.
Indeed.
And it's a good thing for us.
Yeah. Well, again, we are consumers, right? Like, we're gamers,
yes,
we're
correct.
Xbox gamers. Sure, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But at the core of the conversation, we're consumers, and shouldn't we win?
Sorry. Yes, we do win. Sorry, in the chat. That was funny. Look, I know that people play NHL 6 months after. I'm aware. I do the same thing, dude. I do it also. EA is a heavy thing to have in your system. I'm not saying that they're going to cut it. I'm just saying they're definitely looking at possibilities to keep the price low, and that's probably one of them, of saying, look, let's just not renew this thing. But anyways, there's multiple ways to go around the thing.
No, absolutely. Listen, before we get into some of the record-breaking sales for the Xbox Series X specifically, I got to catch up on Super Chats. By the way, we are, holy matrimony, this is bonkers. Folks, we are closing in on 1,480 people watching live. That is a really, really, really big deal for a small channel like Double Barrel Gaming. Now that is across. We have here now 728 people watching on X, which is bonkers, and 754 people watching at Double Barrel Gaming on YouTube. That is a really, really big deal. But listen, let's get into the super chats here before we get into the other topic of the show. Adidas 20 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says a fan base said Game Pass is for poor people. So what's up fuss about what's the fuss about Call of Duty going into it? Yeah, I mean, I've seen some pretty egregious takes on even worse than what you're saying, which I won't repeat. That is disgusting and gross. Unfortunately, well, put those people on the pain of mind list. That's what you should do. Let me just catch up on the super chat here. Boom, turn the gameplay footage off before we go. Is it? Yeah, because I'm getting a really bad signal. I don't know if it's. I'm just gonna pause it. Wait for my. I don't know why. I have the tip of the spear internet. I don't know why I'm having a problem. So I'm just going to pause the footage, and I'll come back to it. I'm gonna actually. You know what I'm gonna do? Sorry, it's not. It's not gonna look great. But it's. I don't know why I'm having an. Oh no, my internet's back now. You know what? Unfreaking believable. Okay, hold on just a second. Let me do the present. I'm sorry that this is happening live. I don't know why this is happening. I have, like I said, tip of the spear internet. So I'm just gonna throw some Halo up there, and yeah, we're back. Okay, so listen, let me continue with the super chats, and then we're gonna get into this the other topic about some numbers that are gonna blow your mind. Judzilla Music, welcome back, brother. Nice to see you in the chat. He drops a very generous £5 super chat. It says, happy Hellblade Eve. Start the Xbox game train and hopefully positivity coming back in a big way. I agree with you. My internet is dropping it again. So you know what? I'm going to stop the footage. I have no idea what the H is happening. Let me just remove that from that. Yeah, see, it's something with StreamYard. So let me just get to the... Again, sorry, it doesn't look that great, folks. I apologize. But let me get to... continue the conversation with the super chats. Jax82 drops a very generous $5 super chat, and Jax says Hellblade 2 has been a long journey. We hear this game looks like an action movie, and I can't wait to play this game. Recently completed Hellblade 1. Yeah, I cannot wait for everyone to actually get a chance to play. It's going to be people are going to be really impressed. Royal Boyle 78 drops a very generous $5 super chat. What's up, brother? Nice to see you in the chat. Thank you for the generosity. He says, boom, Microsoft is and will continue to make major bank from Call of Duty Mobile. That alone will cancel out any losses people think they will suffer. And that's really something to be said about that. I mean, they are making bank. I mean, how many people subscribe? They have over 50 million people playing the game. I'm not saying they're going to take losses. People keeps trying to equate Call of Duty not being purchased for $70 as a negative for Xbox. Look, I'm not a business tactician, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just not. But hear me out. If you are on the PS4 and you're considering upgrading to the next console, and again, we don't know. I know that there is this big mystery of whether or not this is going to be the first next generation Call of Duty. Some people say nay. Some people say absolutely. It makes sense. We don't know because they're not talking. They're going to tell us at the redacted part of the conference on June 9th, right? I think that it is going to be next gen only. I think that they are really hitting what they can do with this game, keeping it on just current generation and moving away from the old generation. If they do that, these PlayStation 4 gamers, more than 50% of the PlayStation populace, have an opportunity to go out and buy a PS5, and they just might do that. But these are also the casual game audience, and this audience will, in fact, do a seismic shift the same way they went from 360 to PS4. you might see PS4 to Xbox Series S. And oh, by the way, an Xbox Series S will play this particular game at 120 frames per second with no problem. That is a definite possibility. Is it a definite? No, it is certainly not. You might get 30%, you might get 25% of those players. Hell, you could get 50% for all I know. But if there is a choice for a casual gamer to spend $500 plus another 7643 for a PS5 versus 199 and in Game Pass, I just think that scenario is great for Xbox, terrible for PlayStation, which again does not have the marketing. That is a big freaking deal. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting. John Wolf, who's been a channel member for 7 months. John, love you, brother. Thank you so much for the support. He says special Call of Duty Gulf War Series S bundle with $199 this holiday will move units, and Xbox is sure to win the holiday sales and win over the North American market. Yeah, that I absolutely believe. Hargeet Chani, who I'm going to get the chance to meet in a couple of weeks in real life. So that's so cool. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, since PlayStation is actually dying, my next video will be how PlayStation is dying and the industry doesn't care. Also, my latest video goes over the cost of Call of Duty for Game Pass versus buy. And and you know what? Please, Hargeet, that we got to start supporting his channel. Obviously, he did big things with Gaz and Asa. Unfortunately, Game On Daily is not a thing. I'm glad to see him pushing the envelope with his own personal channel. We're going to help promote that. And obviously, I'll get the link and drop that in the chat momentarily once we start talking about the next topics. I do want to support Hargeet in a big way. Rain G4, I saw what you did there. Pause. Thank you so much for being here, Rain G4. And of course, thank you for the outstanding, very generous $5 super chat. And he says, boom, finally using his American Online. He got the mail back in 94. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Dude, I don't know what happened. I literally just upgraded all of my services. I have tip of the spear internet. And for some reason, that took a dump. That's the craziest thing. I'm gonna have to call and make a complaint. I may even write an email. I don't know. We'll see. It might not go through. So we'll see. But Fuzzy, I want to go back to you because look, Boss Shaw on Twitter, who I'm a fan of, he puts out great tweets. He really does. They're very pointed. He's an Xbox guy through and through. And early on May 17th, which was a couple days ago, when the announcement of Call of Duty going into Game Pass day and date, well, on Amazon, sales for the Xbox Series X 1 terabyte edition went up 111%. Was that ranked at number 5? And then a couple of hours later, we get a tweet here from his ham on Twitter. And we have confirmation that it went up 210%.
Mm-hmm.
That is no mistake here. Let's be completely real. Like Gamsley literally just said, Call of Duty is a game that the masses know about. From hardcore, I play 12 hours a day, to someone that buys 3 games a year. Call of Duty has been around for 2 decades and will continue to be around for another 2. This is a big deal because it's no coincidence that the console has gone up. Now, I didn't see anything, and I went looking for it, about Series S sales. So if anyone has that in front of them and you happen to just DM me, I'll check and see if we can get that. I'm going to continue to look for it. But we know that Series X sales have gone up in a big way. This, again, ladies and gentlemen, is not a freaking coincidence. This is the Call of Duty effect. And again, it comes at a time where you have a big game dropping tomorrow that is going to really change the conversation about Xbox first party. At the end of the year, you have Indiana Jones, you have Avowed. We have in 2.5 weeks a showcase, which is supposed to be the second coming. And we don't even know what extra games are going to drop outside of what we know. Can we get the Gears of War collection running in Unreal Engine 5? It's possible. We may get something else. We may get South of Midnight. We don't know. But it's really seems, again, this is this perfect storm we were just talking about, but I want to specifically focus on the sales going up. Coincidence or not, sir?
I think it is. Well, how should I put this? It's not a coincidence. I think it's directly correlated to what's coming on the platform. Like, for the most part, yes, it's been talked about a lot as far as Call of Duty coming to Game Pass. But I think now, with seeing a place like Wall Street Journal make mention of it, I think even the masses that aren't on Twitter talking about gaming or aren't watching YouTube videos about gaming, the casual gamer, like you said, that only buys 2 or 3 games a year, one of them being either Madden or 2K or FCA or what used to be FIFA, and Call of Duty just happens to be their go-to every year. They're starting to realize, hey, well, if it's coming to Xbox and they're going to have it in this subscription service, which people have gotten used to subscription services thanks to places like Netflix and Amazon and Disney. And knowing that there's another game coming out this same week, people are probably trying to get ahead of it. And they know in a lot of cases, you get like 30 days of Game Pass for free in the box. And there's deals to be had on Game Pass, whether you see sales on Target or CD Keys or a couple other sites like that. I think people are looking at it from a long-term standpoint because they're like, well, I'm still on a PS4 or I'm still on an Xbox One. There's rumblings that this is next gen. I've seen some people say, yeah, it's already been confirmed. I hope it's that way. I haven't seen those same things. So if you have those links, please drop them in the chat. But it's been talked about for so long that I would have to believe, if they follow their normal tradition with Call of Duty, usually after the 3rd year, they go to whatever the next gen console is and kind of cut off the previous base, which, sucks for those still on the previous base. But then now would be the time it would be kind of an incentive. And this holiday, I have to believe that there's going to be some deals to be had on these consoles. So it should hopefully make things a little smoother of a transition, especially if you trade up. GameStop is always, somewhat reasonable on trading in hardware, more so than trading in software. But I think we're going from 111% up to 210% up. I think by the time Hellblade's reviews get released and people are praising it, within probably the next 24 hours, I mean, I kind of expect places like Metro and maybe even IGN to be like, oh, it's only a 7 out of 10. But the rest of the gaming space, I think will give it, at least a similar score to what the first one did, if not better. Typically games improve on what the first one did. So I would like to see, how people feel about that with this second one coming out. But yeah, by holiday, or actually by June showcase, when all the details are laid out on the table for Call of Duty going into Game Pass, previous Call of Duties going into Game Pass, whatever games are coming to the console the second half of the year. A lot of people like to talk about like the digital library that people don't want to, abandon. And I think at this point, when you have something like Game Pass, you don't have to worry about that previous library, because if you were just that Call of Duty player and you subscribe to Game Pass, well, you now have access to all of your previous Call of Duties. And I think because of the way they have the login, some of your progress should be saved over, if I'm not mistaken. So any of your gun skins and things like that, especially between Modern Warfare 2 and 3, which I hope they continue this trend for Warzone stuff to carry over. You won't be missing out on anything you achieved on the previous platform. So I expect those things to bump up to like 500% by the showcase time, and if not 1,000%. Well, it'd be kind of hard to do 1,000% at that point unless they're basing it off of this snapshot of time right now. But I think by holiday, it will be up there on the MPDs and was it VGC charts or something like that. They'll probably make a note, hey, yeah, it's moving a lot better in the US and the UK, and we'll see if they can take back some of that market share in the UK. But yeah, The people are going to buy the console because their most played game is now associated with that. Just like people bought that PS4. Yeah, Xbox, stepped on a couple of rakes, but people bought a PS4 because of this is how you share games. Like Boom said earlier, the $100 price difference and all of the marketing, which made it feel like, oh, you can only play Watch Dogs on PS4. Oh, you can only play, Call of Duty on PS4. I think that helped them, and in turn, it'll help Xbox this go around.
Absolutely. Gams, let's get you in on the conversation, brother. Listen, again, coincidence? I say no. And we only have Series X sales in front of us. Series S sales, I'm looking for it. I don't see it, but I would imagine that we're going to start to see some of those numbers because the weekend has passed. The Series X is selling like hotcakes, and people are going to buy the console in anticipation of a game like Call of Duty, which, again, you said it. It's one of those games that come out that are generational, that people know exactly what you're talking about. Maybe they're not diehard gamers like us, but they understand and know what Call of Duty is. This is a big deal. Let's talk about it. You're on mute, brother.
Oh, sorry. I love people in the chat. These guys are the best. Steven, I love you. Okay. There's a lot of reasons for console spikes to happen. Coupons, I don't know, discounts, whatever it is. This could have been, I don't know the numbers. I don't know. It's probably Amazon or something. I don't know where the number jumped to 210% or why. I doubt there would be an immediate effect on the same day / hour of the announcement. I don't think it travels that fast. I really do think it was just some sort of discount, but either discount or something. I don't know. But it's inevitable, that's for sure. I think that there's a large shift coming, as we said 2 million times before. As the years go on and as the economy gets healthier or whatever, people get into a stable environment, everything's going to go up again. So, games are going to go up again, game sales, console sales. It's just a matter of time. There's fluctuations up and down, but make no mistake, Xbox is not immune to that up. Like, they are going to go up someday, sooner than later. Xbox drops into Game Pass. There's going to be a bump there. Then when Indiana Jones comes out, there's going to be a bump there. Avowed comes out, there's gonna be a small bump there. Their ceiling is pretty short at the minute, so they're gonna punch through that ceiling pretty quickly at some point because right now their sales are not ideal, right? Boom, they're just not ideal at the moment. So year on year, we're gonna see quarterly earnings say that the Xbox Series consoles are, let's say, up 1%, 10%, 20%, or maybe down 21% instead of 31%, or I don't know. You're gonna see those numbers get better and better. It's inevitable. Let's just play some games and let's just play some games together. I'm excited for games, right, Fuzzy? Games are exciting. Call of Duty is exciting. It's not gonna kill the gaming industry and things aren't gonna blow up, right? Tell me
Exactly.
I'm right. All right,
Exactly.
perfect. Yeah. I don't know what else to say on this one.
No, I mean, listen, again, that awesome opinion. Appreciate it very much. I don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. I think that the market is a consistent growing market. I think that we are in an economy, and I know people clown on me for talking about, real life stuff like going food shopping. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's real life, folks. I mean, I run a household under a pension. So I understand that not everything is, it doesn't stretch as much as it did. So I appreciate Game Pass even more than most because it allows people of every financial station to be a part of the conversation. In regards to the potential sales spike, I don't think that is a coincidence. I think that we are in a market where people might want to upgrade and not be able to actually financially do so. And sometimes they do see a sale and they jump on something. Uh,
Mhm.
Maybe they're waiting to see whether or not they move to an Xbox. Because, again, I know that, the hardcore, we were all, every day watching the court case, listening to what Sarah Bond and
Mhm.
Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella had to say. And we were all in it because we're the hardcore.
Yeah.
But consumers are not as dumb as you think that they are. Again, Fuzzy said it,
No.
subscription services are a normal thing. Like everyone has them. And it doesn't
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that they have 17 of them. Well, a lot of us do. But you'll ask someone,
Yes.
some people do. Like it's true. You look at how many $5 or $10 a month you're paying. You're like, man, that's like cable. But you're getting Paramount and you're getting Netflix and you're getting Disney Plus, and everyone has something for you. Um,
Mhm.
the one place that doesn't have anything for you, or normally doesn't in regards to their first party, that's not day and date, and newer games, sometimes they're indie, sometimes they're not, is PlayStation, and they're charging $160 a
And
year
isn't
for their
that the key?
service.
Isn't that the key to all of this, right? No,
Indeed it
like
is.
you said it to our last point, to my last point, there's no one around them doing the same thing. No one. No one around them.
No.
Xbox is the only one truly doing this as a platform holder, doing this for the first time. And this is gigantic, and they have a gigantic lead and the money to do it without going into like hardcore debt. You know what I mean? Without going into hardcore debt, they're trying to do this efficiently as they could, and that's either going to take time, but it certainly isn't going to kill Xbox. That's for sure. They will not go into debt to do this. They are healthy and they will grow steadily, and we're gonna buy Xboxes. And you know what? All those dudes, you know who I'm talking about, baby. All those guys that are jumping ship. I'm a hardcore PlayStation fan guy now. You have a mini Series S in your back closet. All right, where you walk in the closet, shut the door, you got your little TV in there, you're playing all your Xbox games in the janitor closet. You're not fooling anyone. You're supporting Game Pass. You're supporting the Xbox. Those guys, don't listen to those guys. Those guys are hurt. Xbox is fine, and they're gonna grow.
And they're going to grow. And again, this is going to be very interesting to see what the next fiscal quarter looks like after the holiday. And again, understand, folks, I I don't make any money from Xbox. We just don't. They're not going to help us buy our first home. They're just not. But I look at the bigger picture. The more money they make, the more investment they put into Xbox Game Pass, which is better for me because I'm a consumer. And that's why we're going to have the killer year that we have. That's why Indiana Jones is dropping and Avowed is dropping and potentially Gears of War Collection and a bunch of other things on top of what's supposed to drop tomorrow. And you know what? We can't discount that Starfield exists. It's just got a major update. People are playing it like crazy. Fallout, another game. Yes, it's available everywhere, but it got a really big boost, and that's making bank. Fallout 76, people are enjoying it. And they're going to look. People subscribe for something that appeals to them. This scenario, people are going to look and say, oh shit, Call of Duty. Now, whether they played Call of Duty last year or they haven't played Call of Duty in a decade, they know what it is. And I'm telling you, folks, I don't have to hold a degree to have common sense. If you're trying to sell your subscription service and you put the creme de la creme of Call of Duty in your service, and the other guy does not have it, and you have to pay 76.43, people will shift. And this is why you see a spike, at least that's my take on it. And you're going to see an even bigger spike this fall if they follow suit with a $199 Series S with a Call of Duty wrapping of some sorts. All they have to do is throw Call of Duty on the box, throw it into Walmart, and it's going to be, and again, if you're old like me, you know what I'm talking about, a Cabbage Patch Kid scenario where moms and dads are beating the balls off each other in the aisle. That's just, it happened. It was real life. And you know what? It's not right, but that is what happened. I was around in the 80s. But look, let me just catch up on super chats, and we will get
Chad is
everyone out of
killing me,
here.
by the way. I love.
The chat's great. Chat is so pointed.
I've been dying this
Actually,
whole
some
time.
guy in here, you want to laugh. Some guy's like, Boom looks like he takes the subway. What does that even mean? I don't understand.
There's so much
Do I
shots
look like
being
a
fired.
psycho?
I love it. Oh man, I love
By
all
the way,
you
I haven't
guys.
taken a subway in 25 years. P.S. By the way, I have a car.
I don't even know which one is, if any of them are serious. But if you are or not, I still love you. You're all great people.
Fun.
I love it.
It's fun. It's fun.
Please keep shooting shit.
Morkenstein, who joined the Breakfast with Boom podcast officially last week. He'll be joining us on a regular basis starting this Friday morning. He drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says Xbox wants long-term subs to Game Pass. Using Call of Duty as a loss leader will do that for them. Call of Duty players will fund the addition by subbing to Game Pass long term. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Can I cut in for a quick second? Boom. Yeah. Please. Oh God, I almost lost. I think I lost it. That was one of the key titles. Like, so many people I heard, because I do consume a lot of podcasts, because again, I'm a consumer. I used to consume this industry a lot in the shadows, there's a lot of podcasts out there being like, the short term it's a short-term play for like long-term failure. It's like, what are you talking about? It's the exact freaking opposite.
Exactly.
It's like all these guys saying like they're just going for short-term quarterly like earning calls is a little weird. And one of them is a really good reporter that you mention a lot, but I don't want to bring up his name. But I think he's completely wrong, and the things that they bring up comparatively are wrong. And it's just like, these are not the same beasts at all. Like, the plan is to lose a little bit of money on Game Pass while being healthy marginally. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think the long play is Game Pass is gonna be the thing, and Call of Duty long term will be successful for them, not kill them. But yeah, anyway.
No, it's a great point. And what he was referring to is this. What does Xbox actually want? Do they want you to buy Call of Duty for $76.43? Well, of course they do. They want to make millions. They want their shareholders want to light cigars with $100 bills, right? We understand that. But what's better, $76.43 or getting said person for $16.99 a month for 12 months? Because if you're talking about the casual audience, they're good for 2 games, maybe 3. And the games that they're going to play, like Call of Duty, Madden, NBA 2K, these are all in Game Pass already. And these consumers are a lot smarter than a lot of people give credit for. You're trying to compare consumers from a decade ago when they didn't know what streaming services were. Now everyone understands that they bought a particular service, they pay monthly because their favorite show is in there. What if their favorite game is in there? And oh shit, there are other favorite games in here. And what is this Hellblade? I keep hearing about, oh my God, that's a game? Or Indiana Jones. I went to the theater to see that with my pops. I could play that as a game? This is what happens. Like I said, this is what Jim Ryan was afraid of. This is the nightmare scenario happening in front of our eyes. And get ready. So we have Gray Fox 020. Welcome to the program, Gray Fox, and thank you so much for the very generous $2 super chat. And he goes on to say, just so showing some support. Greetings from Amsterdam. Oh, freaking that's awesome, dude. Welcome to the program. Greetings from New York. Thanks so much for being here, brother, and thank you so much for the generosity. And we have one more channel member chat from House Flan, who's been a channel member for 9 months. Brother, thank you so much for the continued support. We super appreciate it. He says, expect another Game Pass jump when they drop Call of Duty the Call of Duty catalog. Yes, absolutely. I think that will be announced in June. Yeah, listen.
My God. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that, right? No, the back catalog. We didn't even talk about that. They have a lot, man. They have a lot. I mean,
there's 20 games, right? Or more than 20 games dating all the way back to the Xbox 360 Call of Duty 2 that released as a launch title. I think there's a reason why we didn't get the announcement initially. I think that that team that Sarabon talked about creating, uh, these are going to be enhanced in one way or another. They're not just going to be thrown onto the service with no enhancements. They're going to get enhancements, and there is going to be something to be said about being able to go on a billboard or go on a magazine or on the interwebs and say, "Hey, we just dropped every Call of Duty into Xbox Game Pass." That's going to move people, besides the new one getting in there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We are at 1,602 live viewers. That is bonkers. Now, where are the viewers? Well, we have nearly 700 on YouTube, which is amazing, and over 920 on X, which I had no idea was a thing, but well, it's a thing. So 920 people. Let's just say, for instance, you came across the channel, and for shits and giggles, you're like, you know what? Those three knuckleheads know exactly what they're talking about. I had some fun. They laughed. I laughed. Hit the button in front of you right now and go to you. It'll take you, it'll transport you like magic to the YouTube. And all you have to do is hit the subscribe button. And if you're feeling super generous, like you're like, you know what? I feel like a champion of justice today. I'm hitting the bell icon to know every time I go live. I would incredibly like that. I'd be very grateful. We are on the hunt for 15K, and we can get there with your help. And of course, don't forget, tonight at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, my review of Hellblade 2, Senua Saga, will be up and ready to go. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But let's get everyone out of here. Gamsley, come on, brother. Let's sell your brand. Where could people not only tune into you on social media, but what else you got going on with you, Deadly Headley, and Asa? Talk about that podcast.
Before I say that, Stephen Avery in the chat.
What does Stephen have to say?
Gamsley looks like he would own an electric fly swatter. I do.
Some of the comments here.
I love it. I love it. I do have one. All right. They're the best. Anyways, so if you like watching me swat flies with my electric fly swatter, tune in every Thursday for the Xbox Series podcast on Gaming Arcadia YouTube channel every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time with Deadly Headley and Game On Asa. Rest in peace, Game On Daily. Asa is amazing. That show was amazing. You should hear him speak and talk. Deadly is also amazing. Very centered in his views. We make a good trio. You should check it out. And for any other news regarding me popping on podcasts, I pop on a lot. I was on the Gaming Circle podcast with Sante last Saturday. That was a good one. Go check that out. We had a lot of fun. And right here on Boom's show on Double Barrel Gaming every lunchtime on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. For everything else, just look at my X account or Twitter account at Gamsley TKD. At Gamsley TKD. So go check me out.
All of his information is in the show notes. All you gotta do is click twice to get to his YouTube channel, find out what else he's doing, and of course follow him on X, which is now it's officially.
Thank you.
But you're welcome, brother. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. As always, Fuzzy Belvedere, let's sell your brand, kind sir. Where can people tune in for the best place for anything and everything? Subscribe to your YouTube channel, and more importantly, find you on social media.
Well, as always, thank you for having me on. It was awesome being on here with you guys. Always love your takes, Boom, as well as Gamsley. This was a fun Monday. The chat definitely made it a lively one. Greatly appreciate you guys interacting with us. Thanks for taking the time to watch our podcast. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. It's greatly appreciated if you do. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on FSP later on tonight on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. And then look forward to hopefully seeing everybody right back here in the chat on Friday morning for Breakfast with Boom at 10 a.m. Look forward to seeing you there. Thanks again.
Thank you, brother. Super appreciate you being a part of the show. And of course, again, don't forget tomorrow at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, my review of Hellblade 2, Senua Saga, will be up on the YouTube channel for you to check it out. And of course, noon tomorrow, on the new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast, we're having a launch party. We're going to talk about it, discuss our experience with it. I'll have some gameplay, no spoiler gameplay, of course. I'm going to do, like I said, I've already put the gameplay together. It's zero spoilers, folks. So you do not have to worry about anything getting ruined for you, either in the video or what we're going to show tomorrow. Hopefully my internet doesn't take a shit live on the air like it did today. But listen, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. A big thank you to all of the super chats and channel memberships that continue to come in and support the channel financially and allow us to do like the big giveaways, as well as keep up to date with all of our hardware and and stuff for the art, the artwork that goes along with making this look good. Unfortunately, today is very plain Jane because we don't have the boxes for 3 people. We have it for 4 and above. We have it up to upwards of 10, but not for 3. I think I'm going to reach out and get that taken care of. But of course, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor. I would say the Xbox Factor podcast, the Xbox Lunch Break Special. Thanks so much. Enjoy the day. Take care.